morning, this is me. I want to preface this video by saying these videos are usually about Latin, or they have been in the past, but I'm now branching out to English. So if you're looking for Latin videos, I will keep putting them up, or trying to, but your time is valuable, and if you're looking for Latin, you will be disappointed in this video. If, however, you are looking for tips on writing a fairly painless university essay, stick around because I'm doing that, so I thought I would make a video of it and what I'm doing and how I'm getting through that. I've done a fair bit of writing, but the academic stuff is a new experience for me, but it's turning out to be not too terrible. So, I'll show you my pink folder. Everything's better when you use pink. That's my philosophy in life. Anyway, if you have to sort of respond to someone else's essay, and they give you 3 options, and you don't actually have to read all 3 options to make your choice, don't read all 3 options, okay? You're going to have so much reading to do anyway. Why would you exhaust yourself? Just pick the most interesting sounding title and go with it. And understand that writing is a learning process, so if it's not going too well, it's probably not because you picked the wrong article. It's probably because you're learning how to do something new, so just stick with it. That's my first tip. The second tip is that you'll probably get a word count, and if your word count is quite low, like 1,000 words, and I know that sounds huge, but it's really not, and I'll explain that in a minute. You've got to cut down your information, so I would recommend reading the essay that you're asked to respond to very fast. I wouldn't linger over it the first time, and then I would go away and have a cup of tea, and then I would read it again, and then I would read it a third time. Now, the reason I would read it 3 times really fast as opposed to once in great depth is that with an essay, you're not looking at a really deep piece of writing, okay? It may have deep ideas in there, but because it's such a short piece of writing, there's no way it's going to have the depth of, say, Tolstoy's War and Peace. It's just not possible. The author doesn't have the time to expand on those ideas. So a quick reading is probably going to get you more information. And then I read it the second time and then a third time. And because I'm reading it very quickly, this is not quite the painful process it sounds like. Now, the first time I go through it and I am looking for key points. What's the writer trying to say? What are the main points? The third time I read it, the second time I read it, I'm looking for the secondary points. Pieces of writing always have this. They always have the first big points and then they have the second points. And then the third time I read it, I'm looking for the way these points come together, because it's when you put the points together you kind of get an idea of what the author is trying to say. And then what I do is I go through and I highlight the key points, because otherwise you're just going to be going round and round and round and round in circles trying to reread this thing, and you're probably going to end up quite tearful. So what I do is I simplify it, I get it highlighted, pink again, pink, pink, pink. No, that's my own personal preference. And then, once I've got that highlighted, I've got my information really cut down. And once my information is cut down, I can start working on my response. And this brings me to the real point of this video, which is writer's block. Because I know a lot of people suffer from writer's block. And I think, well, I actually believe that this is psychological. You can deal with it up here. People tend to have a real fear of writing, and I think that's probably because they've done a lot of it in school and they didn't enjoy it, and that's a real pity, because I think writing is actually, it's quite, I actually think if people don't get in there and force you to do a whole lot of it on subjects you don't like, it's actually a pleasure. And people say, oh, I stare at the blank computer screen and I just don't know what to say. Well, the first thing is that depending on what sort of person you are, you may not actually be able to get it out straight onto the computer screen. I can. My mum can't. It has to go down in pencil and then she transfers it to the computer screen. So it really just depends on who you are as a person. So try that. Try using a different method. Maybe you need to switch to pencil, do it longhand and then type it up. The second thing is, I think people get really caught up in the word writing. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can't write that many words. You can write that many words. Did you know the average person uses approximately 40,000 words a day? And you're not using those words randomly like ceiling, floor, cot, dog, house, whatever. You're actually using really complex sentences, you're using really good syntax, you're using really good grammar, you're using the language to communicate all day long. And this essentially is what writing is. Writing is just communication, but it's actually easier than just communicating with your mouth, because when we communicate with our mouths, we just say things. But when you write, you actually get to edit it. You get to read what you've written and think, now that's not exactly what I meant, and you get to redo it. Whereas I have found in life, you say something and people just jump on you before you can even begin to clarify what you mean. So writing is your friend. Writing is where you get to express yourself exactly as you want to express yourself. Okay, so that brings me to the next point. If you really can't work out what to say in response to someone else's essay, it really comes down to just having an opinion. It's really no different from being on Facebook and you read somebody's post and you think about it and you write an answer. Or maybe you don't think about it and you write an answer. I mean, that's why I got rid of Facebook, because anyway, you are supposed to think about the answer to an essay, but it's not that hard because you do this all the time anyway. I guarantee you've got an opinion when you watch the television. You've got an opinion when you read something in the newspaper. You've got an opinion, and all you need to do when you're responding in an essay is just to state that opinion in a clear way that the person reading it understands, and then put your reasons in there. And if you really can't get the words to come, take a shower and just talk to yourself in the shower. People will think you're crazy, but you won't even know they think you're crazy, because the flow of the water will drown out. Well, you'll think you're in this safe little bubble and no one can hear you. You're not really, but forget I said that. That's not helpful. The primary thing with writing an essay is just to do it. You just have to start. And if it's rubbish when you're finished, I've got a secret for you. It's meant to be rubbish, okay? Every first draft is rubbish. It's always rubbish. It doesn't matter whether you've published books like me. It doesn't matter whether you've written novels. It doesn't matter whether you've written articles. It doesn't matter if this is the first time you've ever written. Writing is always garbage the first time. That's just the way it goes. It's just part of the process. So if you write something and you think, oh, yuck, then relax. You've got it written. You have to think of Michelangelo, the great artist and sculptor, who said of an angel that he had carved, I saw an angel trapped in marble. I carved until I set him free. And the thing is with writers, we actually have to create the lump of marble. Yes, the first draft. Once you've got the first draft written, you can actually get it to say what you want it to say. So just sit down, just get your words on paper. If it looks like rubbish, that's okay. You've done really well. Getting it on paper is the first stage. You can go back and clarify it once you've got it. You can't clarify it if it's not on paper. And that's what I would recommend. Just relax with the writing process. It is essentially just talking on paper, and you talk all the time, and I bet you're really good at it. And when you write it, it means that, you know, as soon as you write your ideas down on paper, your words have more weight and they seem more important. And I think it's nice to sometimes feel like our words are important and they're going to be read, and that's what you should focus on rather than the grade you're going to get. You should focus on the fact that here's an opportunity for you to say what you want to say, and you know for a fact someone's going to actually read it and evaluate it. And I think that's something that's quite precious, because we don't always get that in the world. So best of luck with your writing, and just keep at it. And remember, if you do get that first draft bashed out, and then you know, you should be very proud of it. And who knows, maybe one day you'll write a New York list bestseller and they'll ask you how you did it, and you'll say, I saw a great work trapped in my first draft and I just edited and edited till I set it free. Love you. Bye bye.